His name is John Pendleton, and who is here today. He loved Oklahoma City so much that he wanted to come back. And so we would get to. For those of you that haven't met him, you get to know him today. Who attend my 2022 workshop with Don before? There's a few of you, handful of you. That's great. I'm so glad you come back. Which means you love Don. Well, just a few housekeeping things. We have, I guess if you go out to these stores, there are restaurants on both sides, and you can come. Today, so Don have 4 sessions that we talk about. In the morning, we'll talk about tax and then business structure. Then we break for lunch, and in between sessions, we have small break too. And then lunch about 12. And then in the afternoon, we have 2 sessions about estate planning and capital gain. Um, so if you I want to say thank you especially to Andrew Cross. I just told him last night that he got everything set up that he can record the seminar today so that if you need to go back to watch it or if you missed anything, if you have to leave early today, you can have access to it. Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of people asking for that. So, I mean, I just love when I work with people that they can make things happen last minute. So thank you, Andrew. And then in break, when you fill out those white paper, I put it in like a bowl and I'll do some drawing for gold price. When you hang out with Asian, you know red envelope, right? Okay, Asian know red envelope, and you know there's cash in here, right? So we'll hang out red envelope as door price today. And Don, when he speaks, he loves to walk around. So he said he has some cash too. So we'll have fun today. I think it's going to be a fun event. I mean, when I first started, the topic about tax and asset protection, I don't think it's, I didn't think it's that important to me, especially when I thought, oh, I don't have much access to protect yet. I think some of you might see this topic and they may not think it's relevant to you yet, but you will be surprised. It can blow your mind today. I mean, if you don't have, I talk about, properties, anything, but if you have children, that's your best asset, right? How do you protect them, right? You have a plan for them. So that's what Daniel talked about in the afternoon about estate planning. Um, when I first started, I was under a coaching program and then they set up like all kind of business, like very complicated business structure, I thought so, because I feel like it's very complicated. I don't think I would do that much of real estate. I mean, what is that? They have C Corp, S Corp, partnership, LLC for me. Um, I have science background. I'm a pharmacist, so I don't know anything about business and financial and, accounting. So that is just like, just over my head. But I'm telling you, over the year, the more I do real estate, it just makes so much sense for me. And the way they set up, I'm so glad I got my business structure set up correctly from the beginning. So the more I do it, the more when I expand it, it just makes so much sense for me. So it's very important. And also, even you're gonna have someone else to do your tax and stuff, but it's still important for you to know how to work too. I mean, you need to know like how what I explained would be deducted, who we deducted, and then how, where do you put, what kind of entity you put this property under and all that. So I know every time I attend Don's seminar, maybe 5, 6 times already, and I still learn, a lot of new things every time. When I first attended seminar out of state, and I was like, in my mind, like, I wish Don could come to Oklahoma. And then I remember I approached him and I say, Don, I mean, would you come to Oklahoma? And he's like, he wasn't hesitant. And he said, yes, right away. I was just surprised. I didn't plan anything, and then the next month he came to Oklahoma. And I'm so thankful for that. We still have a really good relationship. He checked up on me. He gave me a lot of good connection too. So thank you so much, John. I'm not gonna talk anymore, it's gonna be your turn to talk, because he doesn't have much time here. He will have to fly out around 5 today, so we will try to wrap things up around 3. Yeah, and then you're welcome to maybe, ask some question or hang out with him for a little bit before I take him to the airport today. All right, I'm gonna leave it from Don. You have your, okay, good.
I think I'm live and doing well. And last time I was here, I left here in a wheelchair. And the next week I had my right ankle replaced. And I was so gimpy, and you guys were so patient with me, so thank you very much. And Tal and David, you put together such an incredible group. I talk to real estate investors all over the nation, and I've traveled and done lots of little RIA groups, but this organization is so well organized. You really need to give it up to your host. Way too many of them are real estate wannabes that have never really done real estate, but they want to teach you how to do it. And you're connected with some really good people. They get it. Okay, so let me tell you just a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. And what I would
Testing.
encourage you to do. Okay, our little clicky thing's not clicking. Are we?
Yeah. You go grab you another one.
Yeah, we need to be able to click.
She's gonna switch your clicker.
So what I would strongly, I'm going to use a lot of animation today. I'm going to use a lot of PowerPoint. And the closer you are to the screen, the better you're going to be. And you're probably going to need to take some notes. And first of all, I don't want you to, this is a language that most people are not accustomed to. And nobody taught you the language of C Corps and S Corps and LLCs and multi-member and single member. And they didn't teach that in school, did they? There we go, okay. Let me introduce you real quick to Bob. Bob is one of the best, happiest real estate investors in the world. He's friendly, he's outgoing, he's just a nice guy, the kind of guy you'd like to have as a next door neighbor. And what he's doing is he's flipping properties. He started out wholesaling, making a little bit off, a little cut off each deal that he put together. And then he started flipping up the houses, and he found a few houses that he really wanted to keep. And so now he's flipping everything. And the IRS catches him. They do an audit, they say, oh, you are a dealer. Click, 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 doesn't work, okay. He's a dealer in real estate. Well, what does dealer mean? We're gonna go find it. Okay. A dealer means that he's going to lose all depreciation deductions on all of his properties for the next 3 years. Wait a minute. So he has to claim all the income, but he doesn't get to take the real estate deduction of depreciation. It means that all income he receives through rent, which is normally passive, is now going to be subject to also 15.3% self-employment taxes. Ooh! It also means he's going to lose the ability to do a 1031 exchange retroactive. So if he did a 1031 exchange last year or the year before, that doesn't count. It also means he'll lose the ability to do a deferred sale. So if he sells a property over time, let's say I sell you a property and I'm going to collect payments over the next 5 years. the IRS is going to consider that as though I received all the income this year, even though I'm paying capital gains taxes this year, even though I'm not gonna receive the money. Does that suck? The last thing in the world we want is to be a dealer in real estate. You know what, I've got a clicky thing, you wanna create that with mine? Okay, so that's not working, so I'm gonna find my clicky thing.
The
We're
clicky
gonna
thing.
Trade that out. Okay, oh, that's fluffy.
Yeah, nice and fluffy.
That's attractive. It should have been pink though. Okay, let's trade this out for mine. Yes. Where's that? Oh, God, okay, we're gonna try mine.
Hey, John, in the meantime, can I forgot to introduce about your bio. Can I say a quick bio about you? And when you're waiting for, you're working on that?
Or I'll get to it in a minute.
Okay.
Oh, you know what, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's try that.
Okay. Yes, I mean, he started with that saying who he is, but he is a very impressive person. He said, so John Henderson have trained thousands of individuals over the last 25 years. His Asset Protection and Wealth Creation Summit has been attended by thousands and are the longest running wealth creation event in the nation. Yes, I met him in one of the summit that he offered. Later on today, I promise you no sales pitch today, but later on today he will give us information where we can attend his free 3-day summit. It's going to be happening soon next week, in 2 weeks or so. Yeah.
A week and a half, yeah.
A week and a half, yeah. But that's where and then he also, so a little bit about himself, he's an expert in the area of lawsuit protection, tax reduction, and estate planning, and has co-authored multiple textbooks and articles. Every year, he is featured presenter during a number of seminars and workshops on access protection and related subjects. His books and training have helped thousands of business owners, investors, and professions save millions of dollars. I save a lot of money getting my structure set up correctly. He's one of the nation's top access protection advisors and has been helping professionals properly structure themselves for lawsuit protection and tax reduction. His knowledge, expertise, and straightforward teaching style are making one of the top access protection speakers in the nation. And and how many books have you wrote, Don? 5? Awesome. Thank you so much. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's go, okay. Let's get back to Bob. Bob is a dealer in real estate, so clicky thing, still not clicking. So are we too far away?
Maybe.
Click, click, click. Okay, that's plugged in. Wow. This is advanced. That does. Okay, there's the slide, but that didn't get me where I wanted to go.
I can do the
All right, so if you want to take a note of that, you don't want to be a dealer in real estate, let's just call it that. How do we get this? Does this connect up? Okay. You know what, it's working here. So I'll stand back here for a little bit, income taxes. Here's what I want to cover in the next day, today. Oh my gosh. Clicky thing is gonna drive me nuts. Okay,
Let's try one more.
we're gonna try one more clicky thing.
Number 4.
The support everybody carrying your clicker. We try to clicker.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, that's good. So this is forward. That's forward, okay. Okay, what we're gonna try to cover today is income taxes. Take a break. Now, would you agree that that's a little confusing? Tens of thousands of pages of income tax, and we're gonna try to boil it down in an hour or so and give you some ideas. We're gonna talk about lawsuits, and we're gonna talk about legal structures and the best way for real estate investors to get set up. Then we're gonna talk about probate and estate taxes. What is probate, and how do we create a legacy plan? Because if you create it and don't leave it to anybody, you haven't really accomplished anything, right? But the goal is to create a legacy, and how do we do that? Probate and estate taxes can, after you've paid your taxes your entire life, can absolutely rob and devastate an estate. And I'll show you a couple of examples of that right there in our own family. But probate and estate taxes are 100% optional if you will use the proper tools in a timely manner. Jackie Kennedy died with a $93 million estate. You know what she paid in probate? You know what she paid in estate taxes? 0. If you can let us use the proper tools in a timely fashion, you don't create such a mess for your family. We had a guy that worked in our office. He'd stopped law school in the 3rd year of law school. Went home to Massachusetts with his family because his dad had died. His dad is a Supreme Court justice in the state of Massachusetts. Dies without a will, dies without a trust, dies without any estate plan. He spends the next 3 years fighting with family members over stuff. And he doesn't have a lot of good things to say about his dad because his dad dang well knew better. Don't create a mess for your family. Create a legacy, not a mess. And so we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about how to avoid capital gains taxes. And this clicky thing works wonderful. Thank you. Okay. All right. Yes, and I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I'm a guy that got sued years ago. Okay, remember the Rodney King riots? A lot of you won't remember that, but I do. And gangs moved into Southern California. The National Guard moved in to take care of it. We were living about 100 miles outside of LA. And I was running a little recreation park, you know, miniature golf and batting cages and water slides and that kind of stuff. And it was a Saturday night, and we had gang members starting to move into our community. And we had hired some security guards. In fact, we even had a clown. She was about 4'11", great big smile on her face and just absolutely fearless. She would come up to somebody her assignment was anybody that comes in with gang colors, you go out and you don't leave them alone. So she would come up and she would, I see you, but nobody would get mad at a great big, you know, big smiley face. And she would sing happy birthday to him and make a little balloon hat for him. And she'd reach back behind him and pat him on the back where their gun is and go, yep, I see you. And she would smile and giggle and dance around. She would never leave them. It usually took them about 8 minutes for them to leave the park because she gagged them out. She was on duty. We had 3 boys come into the park, and they beat up a video game because it took their quarter. Our security guards asked them to leave. They went up to 7-Eleven. They came back about 10 minutes later. As they're getting on the freeway, they rolled down the right front window, fired 3 shots into our parking lot. Darla Santos was 18 years old. It was her birthday that day. She opened the car door. She had her 2 best friends in the back seat. She opened the car door, stood up, took a bullet to the head, and I got sued because I was the manager on duty at the time and should have prevented it. Did not see that one coming. And I learned about lawsuit protection when I got 4 little kids at home. And I don't know how this is going to play out. And it was 3 years of hell. It was 3 years of depositions and interrogatories and requests for admissions, and it was not a fun 3 years. We don't know if we can buy a house, we don't know if we can move out of state, we don't know if we can buy a car, we don't know, I don't know, what can we do? Since then, I've been vice president of 3 different companies running their tax or their compliance and legal department. I've managed as many as 40 different attorneys. I've defended, I don't defend in lawsuits, but I hire the attorneys that do. I understand the game. And believe me, it is a game. Lawsuit protection is not something that I fool around with anymore. It is something I am very passionate about. It is something that I absolutely believe in. Now, when I say that, that does not mean I want to overkill this. Let's suppose you hired me to come in and do home security for you. And I look around your house and you go, you ought to have better window locks, you ought to have better door locks, and maybe an alarm system would be good. Oh, you have a basement, maybe we ought to put some window well covers on, maybe do some lighting in the parking lot. Have we gone too far with that? If I maybe make, okay. Do you need the alligator moat? Oh, I could sell you an alligator moat. Dang, everybody needs an alligator moat. And you need gun turrets, and you need barbed wire fences, and you need landmines and hovering, helicopters. I could sell you asset protection. The goal here is to be wise, prudent, responsible in what you're doing and not overkill. Most of you in here do not need offshore trusts. A lot of you don't need Wyoming or Delaware or statutory trusts or South Dakota or Alaska. Just let's do what's wise, prudent. When we're talking about tax and legal, let's not overkill. And not everything I'm going to talk about is going to apply to you. Let me show you. Okay, that's me. Clicky thing. There we go. We also run the longest running asset protection class anywhere in the nation. We call it the 3-day asset protection class. The theme of the class is a lifetime to accumulate, 3 days to protect. Give us 3 days, and we're pretty darn good at teaching the basic strategies that you need to know. You're not going to walk out being a little junior attorney and go save the world, but you're going to understand what you need to do. But don't come into the class and half learn a tax strategy or half learn a legal strategy, because then you become dangerous. Does that make sense? So that's what we do. And when we teach, we're bringing some of the best in the nation to teach asset protection. Does this have a, nope, doesn't. Okay, so so off to the left, Dr. William Danko wrote the book, The Millionaire Next Door. There's no better expert in the world on what makes millionaires, how they think, what they do, what they spend money on, what did they have to develop, what character traits to become millionaires. You've got Scott Estel, was a former senior trial attorney with the IRS. He now wears a white hat. He turns around and he sues the IRS. He's sued the IRS over 2,500 times and does not lose cases. And he's one of the most brilliant tax strategists I know, who can defend you. And he's retired and he's not looking for work. But these are the caliber of people that we're bringing. Jill Banner could not get an IRA companies to work in her behalf. She wanted to do things tax-free, tax deferred. She wanted to use IRA money, but she'd go to an IRA custodian. It would take them a week to decide, yeah, you can do the transaction, and by then the deal's done. So she started her own IRA company, and Clint Coons, a lot of you will know him, Toby Mathis, some of the most brilliant people that we can find. Those are the people we bring to the summit. We call them America's Defensive Coordinators. I know Mr. Wonderful isn't going to be there every time we teach, but he's been on our stage several times. And some of you will know these people, some of you won't, but that's okay. Okay. There is always going to be a disclaimer anytime I teach. Sorry, I can teach general principles, how they apply to you and your situation, I have no idea. Does that work for your family, for your business, for what you're doing? A land trust, we were just talking about a land trust. It's a specialty tool that may or may not apply to you. This tax strategy may or may not apply to you, and so you're always looking to run these ideas past you. But I'm going to throw out a lot of ideas, especially on the taxes today. All right, clicky thing, there we go. Okay, income taxes. Let's hit income taxes. There are 3 basic rules. If you're going to reduce your taxes, you have to understand. Basic rule number 1 is that there are free roads and there are toll roads, and you get to choose. I used to live in the little state of New Jersey. It was back in the late 70s, and they promised if we voted in this toll road through our township, we wouldn't have to pay property taxes anymore. Because all the people coming from Pennsylvania into New York City would be paying our property taxes. It didn't quite work out that way, but that was sort of the promise. And what we could do as locals is we could get a map and we could get there just about as fast if we wanted to, or we could pay the toll and maybe get there a little faster. And it didn't matter which road we took as long as we obeyed the laws on the road. If you keep a mileage log for business, nobody cares. Just if you're going to do it right. There are toll roads and free roads all the way through the tax system. My point is, you get to decide which one. Maybe it's not worth it for me to keep a mileage log. Maybe it is. But you get to choose. And they're all the way through the tax system. Almost everything is going to be a toll road or a free road. With the toll road, a little bit more work, but it might be worth it. Okay, that's basic rule number 1. Basic rule number 2 is that there are 2 different sets of tax rules. I used to think, okay, one for the rich, one for the poor. It's not that way. It's for those who have a business and for those who don't. All of you in here have a business. Because by IRS definitions, a business is the intent to make a profit. Some of you haven't set up an LLC, some of you don't have a corporation, some of you don't, whatever. But you all have the intent to make a profit or you wouldn't be here. Do you have a business? Yeah, it's called, if nothing else, it's called the sole proprietorship. Let me show you how the tax system works. Let's suppose you were to make $100,000 in your own name, well, as a W-2 employee. The very first thing, there's your $100,000. The first thing that's going to be taken out is what? Taxes. Whether you like it or not, there's your taxes. And oh, this is driving me nuts. Okay, let's say between state and federal taxes, you pay 27%. That leaves you $76,000. And let's say your expenses for the year are going to be $70,000. That leaves you a whopping $6,000 to invest or save for the future. Whoop-de-doo. Let's look at the other set of tax rules. Businesses aren't taxed that way. $100,000, still the same income, $70,000 expenses. But now your businesses are not taxed on the gross, but the net. They're taxed on the $30,000, not the $100,000. Therefore, you'd probably be in lower tax brackets, leaving you a whole bunch more money to save for retirement. Click, 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 click. There we go. Which gives you an enormous ability to do better. Does it not? So let's summarize this. If you don't have a business, you're going to earn it, pay taxes, and then you get to spend whatever's left over. If you had a business, you could earn it, spend it, and then pay taxes. All right, I'm not real brilliant at this, but I really like the right side of the screen a whole bunch better than the left side of the screen, right? I'm also smart enough to know I can't call everything in life a business deduction. But our goal is to move as many things from the left side of the screen over the right side of the screen as we possibly can. That's basic rule number 2. And I'll give you a lot of examples of things that you could move over and not pay taxes on if we called it a business event. Okay? Basic rule number 3. Start tracking your effective tax rate. Stop thinking, oh, I got a refund this year. Whoa, I'm winning the tax game. Has nothing to do with it. You pay too much, they're giving you your change. That's all it is. So what's your effective tax rate? Your effective tax rate is, here's the taxes I paid divided by the income I made. That's it. Let me give you some examples. Okay. A few years ago, LeBron James reported that he made $124 million and he paid $43 million in taxes. His effective tax rate is therefore 35%. Didn't have a business, he's treated as a W-2 employee. Compare that to some business owners. What's their effective tax rate? Dang. Now, you'll notice my screens have a lot of animation built in, okay? And some of you are taking pictures, and that's great. You'll see when it's time to take a picture, there's a little camera down in the right-hand side of the screen. And until then, don't take a picture, because you're just going to be wasting the film. If you used film, I don't know, whatever. Okay. Okay. Does that make sense? Cool. Stop. Now, what's your effective, does anybody know what their effective tax rate is? What if, okay, let's say it's 18%, and next year you get it down to 16%. Or next year you get it down to 8%. You're winning the tax game. Irregardless of whether you got a refund or not, has nothing to do with it. Start tracking your effective tax rate. And you'll start to see a difference, I promise. Okay. There's the basic rules to reduce your taxes. Let me give you the number one thing I think real estate investors are missing out on. The biggest tax tip out there is retirement plans. And a lot of you are not using the value of these because you don't understand it. And part of the reason is because of the way it's marketed. You're marketed as, look, you can have an IRA, woo! And you can put $7,000 into it a year, and if you're over 50 and have gray hair, then you can put $8,000. Whoop-de-doo. That doesn't buy a lot of houses, does it? Okay? But you're thinking like an employee now. What if we start thinking like a businesswoman? And now there's the business deduction. There's what you could be putting out of your business into retirement accounts. Up to $69,000 per person. If you're married, that doubles that. All of these plans, all of these are called defined contribution plans because the IRS throttles how much you can put into retirement. Okay? But then there's also a thing called a defined benefit plan that allows you to put up $275,000 a year. Expense from the company, tax-free view. And can you self-direct these little babies? Oh yeah, could that be buying real estate rather than you? I sat down with a lady down in Phoenix a couple of years ago. She had just wiped out her $1 million 401k. And what she wanted to do with it, she wiped it out, took all the money out, paid the taxes and penalties, so that she could buy a piece of real estate for her RIL business. And I said, why didn't you just use the 401k, self-direct it, and let that buy the property? And that way you're paying rent and it's building your retirement account. She says, because I didn't think retirement plans could buy real estate. Are you kidding me? Absolutely they could. So she took a $350,000 haircut on that money, paid the taxes, so she could buy a piece of real estate with it. Wow. You remember years ago when Mitt Romney, announced he had a $110 million Roth IRA. How in the world did he get $110 million in an IRA when he could only contribute $7,000 to it? It wasn't by the contribution, it was by the growth. Whoa! And what if I could buy and sell real estate in a tax-free environment? Wouldn't that be better than maybe what some of you are doing right now? Wow. Okay, there we go. Number two tax tips. A lot of you are not understanding the power of real estate losses. And again, it's a marketing term because nobody wants to lose money. So we ignore that. Let me explain real estate losses to you a little bit differently than maybe anyone else ever has. And maybe it'll have an impact. Let's say I bought a house today, it's $600,000. And that's the only thing I do. Doesn't collect rent. We're just looking at the purchase. What's it gonna do to my taxes this year? And it doesn't matter whether I finance it or whether I pay cash. Doesn't matter what the numbers are and how many zeros are behind them. The numbers still work out. Let me explain real estate losses. Here's your tax impact this year. Because this is a residential property, we're going to take what's in blue and we're going to divide it by 27.5. The land, I can't depreciate. Whether the land is an investment, whether there's a piece of property or whether there's a building on it or not, it's worth something. So your accountant divides that out and say, here's what the land is worth, here's what the building is worth. It'll also be on your property tax assessment. But we're going to take that, divide it by 27.5. If this were a commercial property, it'd be 39, but it's a residential. So this is not an arbitrary number, it's a hard number that the IRS comes up with. 27.5, so I'm taking 450, divided by 27.5, I get a $16,000 loss in real estate. Now, did you lose money? Didn't lose money, I invested money. Now, that loss in real estate can wipe out any other losses or any other gains in real estate. Or if I've got an S corp or I've got business income, that can wipe out that as well. Oh, pretty cool. It doesn't wipe out money from the stock market if I made $1 million, but actually it could. We have to manipulate it a little bit. Is there anybody that couldn't use a $16,000 loss in real estate? So it goes to wipe out any other income, and it can wipe out up to $3,000 of W-2 income. And if I've got more loss than that, I can carry it forward the next year and next year and next year. Does that sound appealing? Does everybody like that? Anybody couldn't stand to lose it? Okay, you get it. But this was a turnkey property, it was all ready to go. What if we look at it a little differently? This one's a fixer-upper property. Same amount of money. I'm going to invest $600,000, but here's how we're going to split it up. The land I still can't depreciate. The building, the improvements. We're going to split up repairs from improvements. Improvements are things. You know what? I built on a porch. We added a garage. We added a 4th bedroom. Improvements might be we went from asphalt shingles to tile shingles, or we went from formica to granite. Those are improvements. You want everything in life to be a repair. The IRS wants everything to be an improvement. Figure that out with your accountant. But here's why. What's going to happen is the building and the improvements, $300,000 divided by 27.5 ends up being $10,000 loss. Well, I like the other one better. Well, what happened to all the repairs? You put $150,000 in repairs. As long as I'm putting it in service by the end of the year, I get to claim all of that loss this year right now. That's $160,000 loss in real estate to wipe out $3,000 of W-2 income, all my other real estate adventures, my business income, and if I can't use it all this year, it rolls forward. Is that better than the other one? Anybody that can't use it, $160,000 loss in real estate. But would you like it to get better? Let's make it get better. Let's bring in cost segregation. Let's bring in not just a regular CPA, but bring in a cost seg engineer. And they put a price tag on everything in the building. And they go, your countertops, they're gonna wear out in 5 years. Let's accelerate that depreciation right now. The window blinds and the coverings and the lighting and, okay, we're gonna accelerate that. And with bonus depreciation, and if Trump comes back in office, that will probably come back. So I'm gonna give you 2022 figures. I don't know what's gonna go with the election, and I'm not gonna get political, but I don't think it's over yet. Then I get to count all of those expenses and depreciate them right now. Then I take the 15-year asset. So we put a price tag on every tree, every shrub, every retaining wall, everything, and we're going to say, let's accelerate all of that right now this year. Let's go back to the spreadsheet. Are you ready? Okay, so I'm still gonna spend $600,000. It doesn't matter whether I finance it or not, doesn't matter. But here's how it would break up. Land I can't depreciate, what's in blue, I'm gonna split out over 27 and a half years. My loss in real estate is $5,000. Whoop-de-doo. Well, what happened to the repairs? Oh, I get to claim all of those this year. And whatever I'm accelerating the depreciation on now I've got a $305,000 loss in real estate. Woo! Ooh, baby. Let's hear it. Ooh, baby. And that goes against any other real estate losses. So we have people that they always flip a house every single year just because of the tax benefits. And it wipes out all of their other rental income that they had and all their business income, because this is how Donald Trump said, I don't pay taxes because I've got so many losses carrying forward. Now, we didn't really see his tax returns, but that, that was the claim. You get it, okay? That's how it works. Did everyone sort of understand that before, or did that help? Real estate losses are an incredible tool to not pay taxes. Okay, tax tip number 3. We need to shift as much money as we can from active to passive. And we're going to get the next section, we're going to talk about legal structures. But let's say you had a real estate management company, and you had an ownership company that actually owns the real estate. If you walked into a Hilton Hotel or a Marriott or any other, or if you walk into a hospital, there's always 2 businesses. One owns the real estate, gets all the tax benefits of the real estate. The other manages people. What ties these 2 companies together is a well-worded triple net lease that says, it's your fault. Anything that happens in this hotel, your fault. We're going to shift all blame up to the front desk. We're going to say, if somebody dies in the bathtub, your fault. Somebody dies in the swimming pool, your fault. The shuttle van runs over your toe. You get poisoned in the restaurant. We're going to shift all blame up to the front desk. And what is the management company at a Hilton own? Well, it has to be funded with something. So it owns the desk, the chair, the computer, it owns the ream of paper, it owns all used bed sheets, whatever's in the refrigerator. Whoop-de-doo. There's no attractive assets. What you're trying to do is all the equity in real estate, you're trying to shift all the blame away from that equity up to a management company that owns used bed sheets. And then what we're trying to do is we're trying to shift as much money as we can down to the real estate that we can. Why? Because if you take money out of a management company, that subject is 15.3% self-employment taxes. That's active income, is it not? But rent is passive. So the goal is to shift as much, once a business gets making money, we increase the rents, shift more money down where we can write it off with cost segregation, depreciation, other losses, ooh, baby, and not pay taxes on it. Certainly not pay self-employment taxes. Is this sort of making sense to anyone? Okay. So tip number 3 is shift as much money out of your active businesses as possible, reduce your self-employment taxes, and then write it off with depreciation and cost savings. Okay. Tip number, the goal, shift active to passive, save 15.3% off your taxes. Okay, cool. Now, tax tip number 4. Take advantage of QBI. This is qualified business income. This is scheduled to go away at the end of 2025, again, depending on who gets into office. What this does is it gives you a 20% haircut on certain businesses. S corporations get this, sole proprietorship. Real estate investors, if you're doing these things, if you're running it as a business, not just sole proprietorship, if you're keeping a separate set of books, you track the time you spend. If you do this list of things, then all the income that you receive, I get to take a 20% haircut right off the top and not claim that as income. That's called qualified business income. Well, that's a pretty big tax deduction, isn't it, right there? It's not really a tax deduction, it's just a reduction in the income that you made. So whenever possible, we want to shift some money to and take advantage of QBI deductions. Write off 20% of your business income. There you go. Clicky things, clicky things, clicky. Oh, this is fun. All right. Tax tip number 5. There we go. Business equipment. If you have business equipment, so you put in a refrigerator, you put in a stove, whatever you need to put into your business, we start tracking that as business equipment. And between section 179 deductions and bonus depreciation, you should be able to write off almost anything up to $1.2 million in equipment this year. So claim those, don't depreciate those out. Yes, you could claim it over 3 to 5 to 7 years, but I would claim the deduction right now. Why do we do that? Because that gives you more money to invest in real estate right now. And yes, I get less deductions as we go through, but I like deductions now. Okay, now, are you ready to get really crazy? Well, with the tax code. What if we combine things together? Woo! What if we maximize all of your contributions into retirement accounts? We carry forward real estate losses. We claim bonus depreciation. We accelerate all of that we can. We shift active to passive income. We maximize your qualified business, your QBI deduction, 20% haircut. When we write off all equipment, and then we look for every other expense that you could possibly deduct, shifting things from the left side of the screen over to the right side of the screen. And this is going to require somebody sitting down with you that's a tax professional. How many of you hire tax preparers every year? Help you with your taxes. How many of you hire a tax planner to sit down and strategize with you? Yeah. What's the difference? The tax preparer fills out the information you give them, puts all the information in the right little boxes after the damage is done. What if instead we sat down with a tax planner and strategized and go, what if you had a C Corp here? And what if we had an S Corp here? What if we shifted this income to here? I'm telling you, that's probably the biggest tax tip that I can give you is you need to sit down with somebody. And if your tax planner does not do real estate, I don't care how many tax returns they do not get real estate. If they're not investing in real estate, they don't understand it. I would never, if I were doing oil and gas or mineral rights, I would never hire an accountant that didn't understand gas and oil and mineral. If they're not investing in it, they don't understand it. And so you need to find a tax planner that understands real estate, or I'm guaranteeing you're missing deductions. Okay? Now, that's all the tax tips. And those are all the basic rules. Now let's get into some deductions. How many in here are deducting 100% of your family's medical expenses from day one, from $1? The IRS says you can. Okay, but if you have a business, everybody has a business, right? Everybody has a business. You can deduct medical premiums. Well, wait a minute. But I'm a W-2 employee and they're paying 70%. I know, but you're still paying 30%. And as a business owner, even if it's a sole proprietor, you can deduct your premiums. Don't miss that. That's a big one. You are a sole. Now, whether you have an S Corp, C Corp, LLC, sole proprietorship, you can deduct that. But if I had a C corporation somewhere in my mix, now I can deduct my deductibles, my co-payments, my prescriptions, herbs, supplements, medical equipment. I can deduct chiropractic. I can deduct anything that is medically prescribed out of a 105 medical reimbursement plan. As all I have to do is I have to have a C corporation, or an LLC tax is a C corporation. I have to adopt the right language in my bylaws or resolutions or minutes somewhere. It has to be in my corporate documents, and I can't discriminate. Okay, doctor, you're a chiropractic business. You have employees, do you not? You can't set up a medical reimbursement plan and for you and your wife, but not discriminate. If you can set it up, you gotta include everyone. But there's nothing that keeps you from setting up a separate business off the side. You got your S corporation over here, that's fine, run it the way you're doing. But this little C corporation provides services. It does your accounting, it does your marketing, it does your accounts receivable, I don't know, whatever. This one's owned just by you and your spouse. Now, over here in the C corp, can you have a medical reimbursement plan and not discriminate? You offer it to all the employees and owners, of which you and your wife are the only ones. You see what we're doing? Sometimes it's a matter of stop asking your accountant, can I deduct this? If you talk to your accountant right now, can I do a 100% medical reimbursement plan out of my S Corp? He's gonna say no. He's right. So stop asking the question. Start asking, how can I deduct 100% of my medical? It's all in how you phrase the question. Stop asking, can I, and start asking, how can I? But, okay, so we started a little C corporation for my family, I don't know, years ago, probably 20 years ago. I've got 5 kids. In Utah, we have to say just 5, but I got 5 kids. Jolie, Ashley, Maren, Brian, Andy. So we called the corporation Jamba Inc. I don't know, it just worked out. So, and this was before Jamba Juice was invented. So, but anyway, so we got Jamba Inc. And anytime the kids did something stupid, like dove off the roof and almost hit the trampoline below, or or wrecked a car, or medical or orthodontics, all of those things, I always added up all the invoices, all of the bills, medical bills, invoiced the corporation. Corporation paid, writes me a check. Last year was $27,300 and I don't know something. I wrote it, paid for it personally, invoiced the corporation writes it off as a medical expense. They don't pay taxes. I take the $27,000, put it in my pocket, tax-free, because the IRS says I can. There are toll roads and there are free roads, and you get to decide which one to do. Cool? Okay. Next tax tip. Maybe a C corporation doesn't make sense for you, but a health savings plan might. What I love about health savings plans is that they are triple tax free. Let me tell you what I mean. Most of you know that if you put money in a traditional IRA, you get a tax deduction right now. You get tax-free growth, but someday I have to pay the taxes on it. And I'm not paying taxes on the seed, I'm actually paying taxes on the harvest. Okay, but sometimes that makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. A Roth IRA is different. I don't get the tax deduction, I pay the taxes on the seed, but then I get tax-free growth and I get tax-free distribution. That's a Roth IRA. But an HSA plan, I get the tax deduction right now, I get tax-free growth, and I get tax-free distribution as long as I'm using it for medical something, which is very broad and not really well defined by the IRS. Here's the dirty little secret they're not telling you about HSA plans. Do you know that you can self-direct them? It could partner on a real estate deal. It could buy a tax lien. It could buy the equipment and then lease it. It could do a lot of things. And therefore, yes, you're limited by the contribution. Yes, there's your contribution amounts, but you're not limited on the growth inside of it. And so if you're doing tax liens or you're buying tax deeds inside of your HSA plan, ooh, baby, that's a tax-free environment, is it not? I'm telling you, you're not using tax-free environments to their advantage. How's that? Are you learning anything? Is this helpful? Okay. Paying your kids. Up to $14,600 you could, that's what children can make without paying any federal or state income taxes per child. So what we pay them for? I don't know, whatever they can do. Accounting, bookkeeping, client morale. Okay, RAL people, we've taken little 3-year-olds, put them on, or a baby, put them on grandma's knee, take a picture of them, and pay them a modeling fee or a royalty. Cool. Now you'll notice there's a difference between the colors here. One of them is passive, bottom. Your limitations are about $2,000 a year, but active income, they could be making $14,600. Whoa, so don't pay them a royalty, pay them a modeling fee. Find a way that 3-year-old that walks into your RAL might cheer up everybody a lot better than you can, and your 6-year-old might know more about social media than you do. Just pay them accordingly, but shift income. The very first thing that I would do if I were paying kids. Oh, by the way, that's my grandson. That's in his Halloween Ewok costume. And we have an agreement, every time I show his picture, I have to pay him, and it's a written agreement, it's a royalty agreement, I have to pay him $200. And sometimes these darn buttons get, oh, sorry, something, the wrong way. Okay, sorry. Okay. Well, what would I pay them for? Oh, there he is again, darn it. Okay, okay. Very first thing I would do is I would set up a Roth IRA for your child. Why? Because that's a triple tax-free environment too. It's assumed on a Roth you pay the taxes going in, but he didn't owe taxes because he was under the $14,600. He just had to have income, and now it's a tax-free environment. It grows tax-free. They can partner on a real estate deal. They can do whatever they want to do. Could you use a Roth IRA for a child for education? Yes. Could you use it for first-time home buyer? Yes. Could you use it for emergency medical? Yes. Otherwise, it stays in their retirement account. Okay. So we had a little gal. This was probably 5 years ago. It was right before COVID. We set her on stage. We were down in Orlando, we had 150 people in the room, and we said, okay, Maddie, set her on a bar stool so people could see her. Maddie, what's in your Roth IRA? She's a second grader. She says, well, I've got 2 residential properties, and I've got a commercial property, and we're doing hard money loans, and I don't know what that is, but we're making good money at it. And her mom whispers, and you're doing a business startup. No, Mom, I'm doing 2 businesses. Oh, that's right, you mom. This is a second grader. Are you kidding me? She's got tax-free money for growth. Could you just imagine sitting down at second grade with all the little second graders, and they all have their little milk and their little straw, and they're discussing, so what's in your Roth IRA? And what's there's a whole new level that sometimes we don't go to because we don't understand the tax code. But there's so much more that you could be doing, okay? Let's go. Now, if I had more money than that, more than the IRA, the Roth IRA, I might put it into a savings account for the kid, okay? And when it came time for their birthday present, I might just use their account, not my account. Our birthday present's tax deductible. No, but tax-free, isn't that the same thing? When it comes to their piano lessons, I guarantee they will practice the piano better if it came out of their account than if it came out of your account. And they tend to pick up their school clothes better if it came out of their account than your account. And you're starting to teach your kids financial responsibility, which you need to stop trusting the school system to do, because they're not. And so you teach them financial education from the beginning, and we give them money to be able to do that, and we make them earn it, and darn, I'm sorry, I'm a hardliner, but you got to work here in this family. And what you're doing also is you're shifting income from your high tax brackets to their non-existent ones. Cool? Ooh, baby. Okay. Administrative office. A lot of you can't write off a home office because there's some rules and restrictions. If you already have a business office at home, you can. So we don't call it a home office, we call it an administrative office, which the rules are different. If I've got some section of my house, let's say I've got a 3,000 square foot house, and I use this section right here exclusively for business, and let's say that ends up being 12% of my overall house. Now I can write off 12% of the rent or the mortgage, 12% of all my property taxes, landscaping, housekeeping, utilities, the kid that mows the lawn, the lady that comes to clean, 12% of all of those things, because 12% of my house is used as an administrative office. Are you claiming that deduction? If not, you're missing it. Just, now you can't put that in a bedroom with its, a guest bedroom. It's got to be exclusively used for business. Don't. Be honest with your taxes, but take advantage of the tax. Okay. Now I got to give you a warning. In Oklahoma, you have a rule, a law. It's their homestead law. You're one of 8 states that protect 100% of the home. But if you're claiming more than 25% of your as a administrative office or as a home office deduction, you're going to lose that homestead deduction or that homestead protection. Homestead protection right now, if I sue you personally, I probably can't touch your home. There's 12 exemptions to the home, to your Oklahoma homestead protection. Generally, it's pretty good. This is one of the exceptions. The other exceptions will be divorce. Don't pay your child support, your alimony. They're going to come in. Don't pay your property taxes. Yeah, you can't expect the state of Oklahoma to protect your home if you're not going to pay, your taxes. But other than that, sometimes the federal government can supersede. Like if you're running marijuana or you're running a drug house, the DEA is gonna come in and, I'm sorry, they're gonna supersede state law, but don't take off the federal government, pay your taxes and take care of your family and your home's protected. And don't get greedy on homestead protect, or your home office deduction. Okay, other than that, your personal residence is protected. Oklahoma up to 160 acres if you're out in the country, or 1 acre in the city. Okay, we clear on that? Your homes are protected. Just don't. Okay. Next one. How many of you right now are thinking, I've got a really stupid accountant? He didn't teach me this. Ladies, let's play a game for a second. How many of you have a purse with you? Show me your purse. Lift it up. Okay. That's a nice little handbag. That's a big one. What else? Oh, a little. Okay. Would a cell phone fit in that? Okay. And would it? Okay. Yeah, you put a whole tower in that one. And that one, I'll bet a good tablet would fit. You know, my wife does not own a single purse. That is true. She does not. She has a closet filled with computer bags. Computer bags are tax deductible. Purses are not. And this lady can accessorize like no one you know. She's good at this, okay? It's not that your accountant is dumb. It's that you're not giving them the right information. Start giving them the right information. Is this a vacation or is this a business trip? Is this laptop or is this big screen TV to watch the Sooners, or is this a large monitor for my computer, for my business? One is tax deductible, one is not. You know that guard dogs are tax deductible, puppies are not. Just saying. Meals, is this tax deductible? Is this business? What was the purpose for this business trip? For this mileage? What was the purpose for the vehicle? Is it exclusively used for business? If so, let's deduct it. Now, don't remember on all deductions, okay, we're in Oklahoma. I got to remember this. Pigs get fed, the hogs get slaughtered. Did I get that right? Be honest. Be truthful. Don't claim things that are not. Don't push the bubble. But if you can call it, if we can shift things from the right side of the screen to the left, the other way around. If you can shift things, purses are not tax deductible, computer bags are. See what we're doing? Okay. All right. Wait, let me wrap up tax section with just a couple more slides. Most of you know that entertainment is not tax deductible anymore for a business, right? And some of you know that the movie Wicked is coming out November 22nd. So you take all your employees to this, but it's kind of a holiday treat. Is it tax deductible as a business? It's not an entertainment expense. However, if we call it a team building activity, then it is. Holiday parties are tax deductible, summer outings, those are tax, entertainment, not tax deductible. Okay, let's go on to the next one. What about, did I go too soon? Everyone got that? Okay, you got it. Meals. Most of you know that business deductions are not, businesses are only 50%. However, team building activities, holiday parties, company picnic, promo gift cards, 100% tax deductible. Okay, I'm coming here from Utah. Now, could I claim all of my meal receipts? Yes, but Town David paid for my lunch yesterday, and then we had dinner together, and they're paying for breakfast. And I'm not going to have any meal receipts. By the time I get done, well, maybe I'll buy a granola bar on the way back, but I'm claim a 50% tax, 50% tax deduction if I keep my meal receipt. That's stupid. Don't do that. You know, the IRS says I can claim per diem of $69 per day when I come to Oklahoma City. Take that money out of business expense, put it in my top pocket, tax-free. Because I can claim per diem. Oh, when I'm traveling. Okay. Are you learning anything? Yes, you got a question. Okay. She's asking, yeah, Tulsa does not allow per diem when you're doing day trips. Every per diem has to be overnight. And it's not Tulsa or Dallas, it doesn't matter. It's the overnight thing. But per diem, look, and per diem is different in every city depending on, so the IRS has a little calculator, they have a little website. Pull up Seattle in October and figure out what it's worth. Okay, all right. Standard business. How many of you are not keeping a business or mileage list? Don't raise your hand, that would be embarrassing. Okay, but if you're not keeping a mileage log, do something. Okay? Take a stack of $1 bills. Put it on the console. Next time you go on looking for, I don't know, business. After 2 miles, roll down the window, throw $1 out the window. After 2 miles, throw $1 out the window. After 3 miles, throw $1 out the window, and you will have cured yourself. Because that's about what it takes to go down to Staples, buy a flipping mileage log. Now, if you're too cheap for that, get an app. And say, okay, this is a business trip, and it tracks your GPS, and it keeps track of all your business miles. It's not hard. It's just, if you're not, so my wife and I do keep business. We're not real good at the day-to-day thing, but at the end of every month, I'll look at our mileage, and at the end of the year, I'll look at my wife's, because she doesn't keep records of anything. And so, but it's written and we have a mileage log. And we usually, between the two of us, and we both have home offices, but we usually add up about $10,000 worth of expenses. It's amazing how it adds up. Okay, so be doing that. And by the way, that's yours. Okay, all right. Summer camp. Is summer camp tax deductible? You want to send your kids or grandkids to summer camp, is it tax deductible? I'm going to read right out of the IRS code. Summer camp, you send your 9-year-old, this is out of the IRS publication, to a summer camp while you work. Summer camp offers computer activities, recreational activities, swimming, arts, crafts. The full cost of summer camp can be used for, it can't deduct the food, can't deduct the housing, but daycare, yeah. So now all of a sudden this becomes a child tax credit, not a deduction. So this goes against the taxes that I owe, not the income that I made. That's a big difference. If you understand tax credits, that's where the money is to be made. Take advantage of these types of things. This is clothing. Is clothing tax deductible? What's that? If it has a logo on it, and now it's not a clothing deduction, it's an advertising expense. Really good. Okay, how else can you deduct clothing? Uniform, a uniform, yes, but it has to be so incredibly ugly, you could not ever use it for streetwear. Sorry if you're with corn dog on a stick, that's the best example. Would you ever wear that in public? Oh my God. Okay, it has to be ugly, okay? Safety equipment could be tax deductible. And dry cleaning, when you're in travel status, can be tax deductible. There's one other way to deduct clothing. Does anybody know what that is? Watch me. Oh, dang. Replacement cost, baby. Killed in the line of duty while I'm teaching in Oklahoma. I've killed more white shirts and ties at business meetings than you can possibly imagine. I am just a pig when I eat, and so sorry. Replacement cost expense out of the business. See what we're doing? Okay. I hope you're having a little fun. Workshops and mentors. Okay. Where's Andrew? Oh, okay. You hire Andrew to be a mentor for you. And you go through, you want his training, wonderful. That's what he does. I understand it's really good. Okay. Is it tax deductible as an educational expense? Well, let me ask you, is Andrew an accredited university? Are you working toward a degree program? Is it required by your employer? Are you a full-time student? It does not meet any of the requirements for education. It is not an education expense. However, what if we called it research and development for your business, or professional development, or coaching, or certificates, or consulting? Dang! It's all in how you see the expense. All right. Are you taking notes of this, Andrew? Ooh, baby, let's hear it. Okay.
Should a family member be a coach, like your spouse or whatever?
Can you use a spouse?
As a coach.
Pigs get fed. I don't know. I think that might be a little questionable if everything's coming down to your own tax return. And I think I got your clicky thing with, which is why it's there. It goes. Remember this, okay? Perfect lead into this. All business expenses have to fall under this set of rules. It needs to be customary, ordinary, necessary, and reasonable for your business. I got that out of order, but you get the idea. What does that mean? Okay, my wife, 2 weeks ago, decided to take her business and take two of her best friends on a trip to Hawaii. They sat on the beach for a week having business meetings. So she comes back and she wants to write it all, she paid for it all out of her business credit card. And I'm figuring out how to do the accounting on this. Did you keep any records of what you talked about? No, but we had business meetings, okay. Did you have any emails, any appointments set up to talk to real estate people or other people that are in the massage, energy, work kind of? No, but we had meetings. Do you have any records of any of these things? No. Is it ordinary? Why couldn't you have those business meetings in Salt Lake? Did you have to go to Hawaii? And the answer to all of these things is, no, we're going to take that as a draw for the business. We're not. Pigs get fed. Look, don't call it a business thing if it's not, but if it is, if it could be, let's take advantage of the tax code. Okay. And then employee benefits, the last slide. Look at any question, yes?
How could you make that a taxable deduction?
Oh, baby, come here. Mike, right? Matthew, okay. Matthew and Mike. Mike, Matthew, there we go. Cool question, thank you. Okay, how could you, if you were looking for real estate and you had appointments scheduled, and I'm doing a seminar or a workshop, and I'm going there, and I know it's for that. We used to teach, in fact, since we've been running the company, we've taught 8 workshops on cruise ships. Cruise ships, workshop is not tax deductible. However, travel to and from a business meeting in 30 different countries is tax deductible. So what we did she said, let's go to Roatan, or let's go to Anchorage, Alaska, or let's go to Private Island, and let's hold a meeting. Let's have content that we don't teach anywhere else. And then, I don't know how you're gonna get there, but I'm gonna take a cruise ship, and here's a group rate if you'd like to join us. And if you'd like to, we're gonna teach free workshops every day for 2 or 3 hours but there's a mileage. And then when people got there, we gave them a certificate of attendance. And here's the minutes for your board meeting. And we had a track record of everything that we did. Therefore, mileage to and from that business meeting is deductible, according to the IRS, up to $961 per day, per person, per diem, paid for my trip. So really good question, but you have to have a track record. You have to keep, Years ago, my wife and I went to Lake Powell. We took the 5 kids. Each one of them happened to be on the board of directors. Even when they were 12 years old, they could do that. And we had business meetings. We had business meetings every day, and the kids hated it. Because for 3 or 4 hours, I felt that if they're gonna learn real estate, they're gonna learn it from dad, and they're never gonna learn it in college. And so we had business meetings, and we went over profit and loss statements, and we went over what a balance sheet is, and we went over what an earnest money agreement looks like. And we hired the kids that were in college to go out and bird dog properties for us. And they would do an evaluation, and every evaluation, they got $200 that got them through college. It's an expense for my business, but that business trip, and then after that, after Lake Powell, we had jet skis, and we had ski boats, and we had a whole bunch of fun. When we have a business meeting with our family, it's a serious business meeting. And then Texas Roadhouse could be, tax deductible or not, but does that answer your question?
Yeah. So in addition to that, you needed about 3 or 4 hours per day for each meeting.
It needs to be, that's the intent of the why you're going there. And you have to show that. And if there's a couple days that are if you have a business meeting on Friday and one on Monday, the IRS says, you can stay over for the weekend. But then if you don't have anything on Tuesday and Wednesday and you fly out on Thursday, those aren't tax deductible. So don't push it too hard, but claim them. And okay. Anything that a great big company can claim, you can claim if we have the right legal structure to do so and the right verbiage inside of your corporate documents. You don't just say, well, I'm going to deduct all these things as an S corp or as a sole proprietorship. That's not going to work, but all of those things work. Are you learning something on taxes? Okay, let's wrap up this tax section. Get my cookie there. Oh, darn it, there he is again. Okay, good. Okay, so what I want you to do, most of you, I don't know if we passed that out. Before you leave today, I want you to fill out this, because there's only so much I can talk to you about taxes. But Scott Estel, again, the former senior trial attorney from the IRS, taught a webinar for us. And this was probably about 3 weeks ago, and he called it Tax Traps for the Real Estate Investors. Here are the tiger pits that the IRS has created for real estate investors to fall through, like dealers' dads. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, and it was a brilliant webinar, Tax Traps for Real Estate Investors. If you'll fill out the top part of that form, and if I can read your email address, by Tuesday, I'll be able to send you something that I'll send you a link to that webinar. It'll be worthwhile, and I think a lot better. He's a lot better equipped to teach taxes than